What's up everyone, it's your guy Lai here, and today I want to talk about something I haven't seen much deliberation on in the Fire Emblem community. There's a myriad of great video essays out there on which Fire Emblem is best to start with, or which is the easiest to beat for every kind of strategy RPG fan. But I want to make a guide for those among us that have just gotten their feet wet with this amazing franchise. While every Fire Emblem is beatable on its hardest difficulty, while keeping everyone alive and sometimes even at level ups, I find that in popular discussion, there seems to be an unspoken convention about each Fire Emblem game's definitive difficulty. That doesn't mean these difficulties are always the hardest available to the player. No, each game's definitive difficulty is one I think represents each game's best blend of quality of life, accessibility, and meaningful challenge for intermediate players. This guide assumes you've beaten 2 or 3 Fire Emblems. You're not save stating, you'll reset when you feel like it, but not as a rule, and you're not turtling generally. I will sometimes recommend that you start with a 100% save file, assuming you're emulating to streamline some games. Do you really want to play Lin mode on normal? In one special case, I will outright strongly recommend a certain gameplay patch. Maybe you've just finished 3 Houses and played FE7 when you were younger and want to dive further into this fantastic franchise, only to boot up your 100% save file of translated FE12 ROM, and oh boy. Does Lunatic Reverse mean you'll gain sanity playing this mode? Well, my friend, let's break down each game by the first decision you'll make upon booting it up, the difficulty. Fire Emblems 1 through 5 don't have conventional difficulty settings, if they have any whatsoever. The creator of Fire Emblem, Shozo Kaga, who directed the first 5 titles, wanted to craft grounded player experiences. These titles were ones in which he could better account for players' resources at particular points in progression, and assume that players would not reset. Fire Emblem 1 and 3 don't have difficulty to speak of at all, while 2, 4, and 5 contain less so difficulty settings and more so Easter eggs. Fire Emblem 2, Gaiden. FE2 is the first game to have a difficulty setting and continues its repertoire as the black sheep of the franchise by being the only game on this list whose easiest difficulty is definitive. Easy difficulty doubles your EXP gain and is accessible through pressing Select, Start, and A on the title screen. Doubling your experience will make the slow pace and progression of Gaiden much more bearable, and offer players a much more streamlined, engaging, and in my opinion, fun experience with one of Fire Emblem's straightest titles. Fire Emblem 4. Genealogy of the Holy War. My favorite Fire Emblem has the only tolerable difficulty setting on this list, that being Clever Mode. Clever Mode makes the enemy AI more aggressive, and I believe it is perfectly fine for immediate players, so relax, strap in for a transcendent narrative and top-notch world building. Fire Emblem 5, Thracia 776. Similarly to Gaiden, Fire Emblem 5 doubles your experience gains with its only other difficulty setting, apart from normal mode, Paragon mode. Like its predecessor, either is perfectly accessible, and the double experience doesn't have as profound an impact on gameplay as it does in Gaiden. Play either one. Fire Emblem 6, The Binding Blade. After Shozo Kaga's departure, intelligence systems pivoted to a more conventional difficulty select, with FE6 having an unlockable hard difficulty after beating the game once. Fire Emblem 6 Hard Mode is not for the faint of heart and is characterized by brutal ambush spawns and low hit rates. However, I do believe this is its definitive difficulty. Feel free to use a guide for the extra edge when it comes to resource gathering and determining which characters may not be the best idea for your team composition. While normal mode is a fine difficulty by all means, I think that a little bit of extra challenge will scratch that itch that intermediate Fire Emblem players are having and why they're coming to older games. Fire Emblem 7, The Blazing Blade. Known as simply Fire Emblem in the West, FE7 once again must be beaten on normal to unlock its subsequent difficulties. You'll definitely want to skip this one's easier ones. Hector's story on hard mode is characterized by its accentuating its difficulty through limited deployment slots and varied map objectives to keep you on your toes. It's a good time. Feel free to have a quick romp through Lin hard mode as well. Fire Emblem 8, The Sacred Stones. Play difficult mode, the red one. Seth Gober, and what he does on normal and easy mode is a violation of the Geneva Conventions. Fire Emblem 9, Path Radiance. Fire Emblem 9 is the first title to have regional variants in the difficulty options available to you. Luckily, its definitive difficulty hard mode is available on all copies. Its hardest difficulty, Maniac, is Japan exclusive and characterized by tanky enemy spam that, coupled with FE9's snail-paced engine, is a grueling slog, even with emulator speed up. Easy and normal mode will only bore you. Fire Emblem 10, Radiant Dawn. Like its predecessor, FE10 has regional variants in the difficulty settings, and is my first recommendation for an outright gameplay patch. But first, In vanilla, I believe normal mode is the definitive experience. Hard mode removes key mainstay quality of life features to ramp up its difficulty. If you are able and prepared to use one of the many patching tools out there to re-inject these into hard mode, then I believe hard mode is definitive. Easy mode won't provide much of a challenge to you. Fire Emblem 11, Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon is notorious for locking certain characters and maps behind death walls, meaning to experience 100% of this game's content it is impossible to have a perfect run. I suggest using the Shadow Dragon EX patch to remove this stopgap and playing Hard 3, the one with 3 stars. In the process, Shadow Dragon EX will allow you to also experience Marth's prologue, setting up the story events for the game. This prologue is only available normally in normal mode, the game's easiest difficulty. If you find yourself not meeting much resistance, feel free to upgrade to Hard 4 or even Hard 5. If you're not patching though, I would certainly recommend Hard 3. Difficulties below Hard 3 don't demand much from knowledgeable players. Fire Emblem 12, New Mystery of the Emblem, Heroes of Light and Shadow. The Japan-only Fire Emblem 12 is the first to introduce casual mode, and that's the last time its existence will be acknowledged on this YouTube channel. Fire Emblem 12 is a game that demands intimate and accurate knowledge of its enemy AI systems on its highest difficulties, Lunatic and Lunatic Reverse. For a first pass, stay away from these and test your mettle in Maniac mode, it's medium difficulty. Hard and normal mode are a bit too easy, and don't let FE12's smart enemy placement shine through, since their enemies are significantly less threatening to competent players. Fire Emblem 13, Awakening. FE13's highest difficulty, Lunatic Plus, can generate unwinnable softlock conditions within its first hour of gameplay, so stay away. Similar to FE6, Awakening uses ambush spawns and siege weaponry to target your most vulnerable party members, and demands competent player positioning and understanding of its systems on Lunatic. I recommend hard mode for your first playthrough, as normal and easy see the easiest gameplay in the series since Sacred Stones. Maybe try a Robinless run? Fire Emblem 14, Fates. For all 3 paths, Lunatic is the definitive difficulty in my opinion. Conquest will be the most demanding of these, and the most challenging definitive difficulty on this list that I recommend. There's a tall order with ample payoff though. Maybe try beating Revelations and Birthright first so you don't come to understand the nuanced and tight-knit Fates engine first. If you truly have a rough time of it, hard is also great for Conquest. Fire Emblem 15, Shadows of Valentia. The easiest recommended difficulty on this list, Shadows of Valentia hard mode, is a forgiving difficulty that allows you to take in the beauty and serenity that washes over just about every second of FE15. Fire Emblem 16, 3 Houses. Given Switch emulation is much more demanding, I will assume you're starting with a fresh copy of Fire Emblem 16 and cannot access New Game Plus. So, pick your second favorite house and give hard mode a thorough thrashing. Then upon completing your first run, pick your favorite house on New Game Plus Maddening. New Game Plus will make Maddening's grueling early game much less of a headache for most players. If you can stomach 2 more runs through FE16, feel free to make your last one a Maddening one without New Game Plus. So, that's all of them. Big shoutouts to Professor Popper for inspiring this video, and the footage used for each game is posted in the description. I want to do more Fire Emblem content oriented like this in the future, and this is my first scripted video on the channel. So please stick around, and if you enjoyed this video, drop a like. I'll see you next time.